Yes, I agree. This is an offer I cannot refuse. Let us make haste. Wonderful. I'm glad you accepted the contract. Let us set off at once to the beautiful realm of Boston. We shall pack and make our way now to Boston. Ah, Boston. The land of, well, we're not really allowed to say it on YouTube. Just how I remember it. Just as beautiful as always. I wonder if it's changed in these past years. Let me quickly stop off and grab a drink before we finish our journey. Jesus, where the hell am I? Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Brickmaker channel. Today I'm bringing you kind of a part 2 to a series I'd already started on Fallout New Vegas. This is using one of the characters from probably my favourite video game ever. The character of Geralt of Rivia from the Witcher series. Now we've got a slightly longer introduction than normal because I just want to go over some of the rules before we start. In this challenge, I will have to play and behave as if I was Geralt of Rivia. A character who not only has 3 whole games of lore behind them, but also many books. So I'll have to make decisions and complete quests as if it was Geralt. If you guys haven't ever read those books, I would highly recommend it. And if you guys haven't played The Witcher 3, my god, go play it now. It is potentially one of the best games ever made. On top of having to behave like Geralt of Rivia, we'll also have to do a couple other things as well. I will play the entire game in third person, just like the Witcher 3 game is. I will only be able to use swords found in the game. I can also use traps. Something I've never used much in a Fallout 4 playthrough, but I decided to use it a bit more for this one. Also, Geralt has access to bombs in his game, so I'll be using different types of grenades and mines. I'll also have access to Witcher signs. There are 5 signs in total, and I had to do a good amount of research to make sure I had enough for each of them to make it feel authentic. I won't go over all the different things that I use for the signs now, I'll bring them up as the video is going along. But the 5 signs that we should be aware of is Ard, the ability to use telekinesis to blow your enemies back. Irden, the ability to set traps. Igni, the ability to cast fire. Gwen, putting a shield around your own body to deflect attacks. And Axie, the ability to put a charm on your opponent to make them a little bit confused for a while. With all the rules discussed, we can now ask the question, can you beat Fallout 4 as Geralt of Rivia? We start our Fallout 4 game like any other playthrough, in the bathroom, hot and sweaty. I think I do a pretty good job making my character look like Geralt of Rivia. White hair and scar are the biggest features. I name him, well, Geralt of Rivia. And give him pretty generic stats to start the game off, except for his luck. Because, well, if you've read any of the books, you'll know that Geralt isn't too lucky when it comes to certain things. The Wild Hunt must be close by because me and Not Yennefer get frozen in ice. She ends up getting a very close haircut, and I show my true rage. I make sure to rob this poor woman because I'll need to get some gold later to pick up my equipment. And luckily Geralt had access to fists, so these red roaches aren't much of a problem. I pick up this witchcraft bracelet and set off to explore Boston. Still more beautiful than Novigrad, I'll say that much. I return back to one of my many homes in my travels and pick up the Year Special book and put it in my strength. I make sure I rob all the gold in this basement because I need caps. Because before we can truly assault Concord, I want to get my first weapon. Now despite having access to fists, it's got nothing on a sweet sword. So I immediately go to ruin Wolfgang and Simone's day. Unfortunately, they're able to ruin my day first, as fists versus gun, well, there's only one real winner. Second time around, and after stealing Wolfgang's clothes, I'm able to take out Simone. And despite saving her and her son's life, they're not willing to give me even a little discount on my first weapon. So I hatch a plan and head back to Concord. I don't feel quite ready to attack Gristle and the Deathclaw, but I can definitely take out the low-level raiders hanging around the museum. These guys are attacking a poor settlement inside, so there's only one thing to do, and to start getting my Witcher hands out. As any fan of The Witcher knows, Witchers are designed to help humans. That is from both monsters and different raiders. They're called bandits in our games, but raiders will do fine for now. Preston and Sturgis let us know that there's some witchcraft machine upstairs, and I decide that I'm going to take this sweet suit of power armor and run straight back to the diner. Could Geralt figure out some power armor? Probably. Am I going to use it in this playthrough? Definitely not. But what I will use is the minigun and all its ammunition to be able to buy General Chow's Revenge. Now, for most people this will be your first special weapon you'll find in Fallout 4. Unfortunately, it's just a bit too expensive for the early game. So I actually don't think many people get a chance to use it. It's a Chinese officer sword with 50% more damage against robots. Not helping us out too much right now, but it's the only sword we've got. And I'm so powerful at this moment, every time I go into Fats, well, Geralt just decides that he's going to do a little hop, skip and a jump, until he's ready to pull off a pretty sweet move. That's what's quite nice about using third person in this game. You do get to see some pretty cool animations. Unfortunately, those animations come with a little bit of a problem. You can sometimes get your camera lost in the walls. But less about gameplay glitches, we're taking on our first monster of the game, the Concord Deathclaw. Now my first reaction was just to gauge my kind of power, and in doing so, I forgot to save the game. So another 10 minutes wasted, I decide that this time I'm going to just run straight to the Deathclaw and let all the raiders handle him. You also might be noticing I'm setting one of my first traps, caltrops. This is something you're able to just build at chemistry stations. I had absolutely no idea, and I think for a good reason. The amount of times I used caltrops, and they never ever helped me at any point. Honestly, I don't know what they do. I think they cause bleed damage if the enemies walk over them, but I never noticed anything. I found it just easier to use my special powers and fire the Deathclaw into the sky. With my first monster taken out though, I'm able to claim my first trophy of this playthrough. And it wouldn't be Geralt if I didn't strap the monster's head to the side of my horse. And by horse, I mean Preston Garvey. With the monster cleared up, I let these settlers know that Sanctuary can be their next home. As a Witcher's role is to make sure that all human settlements are safe from monsters. The next thing I've picked up though is some Med-X. This will act as part of my Gwen shield, as actually being able to set up a protective shield around your entire body isn't really that possible in Fallout 4. To be honest, it was the same in Fallout New Vegas. The best I could do was Med-X. Hey guys, this is Brickmaker from the future, just jumping back and showing you a nice little preview of things to come later on in the video. The reason I'm jumping back in time right now to speak to you is because I want to remind you guys to please subscribe. Somehow less than 10% of you are currently subscribed to the channel. So if you guys could, please remember to subscribe and like the video. You have no idea how much it actually helps with this channel and help it grow. Okay, now back to your regular programming. So that means most chems are going to be on the table for old Geralt. Potential life-damaging addictions aside, I decide to help out all the people of Sanctuary and rebuild it. I then start making my way towards Diamond City, as it is the biggest human settlement and there's probably a lot more Witcher contracts for me to pick up. On the way, however, I do run into this group of soldiers who are needing a little bit of help with these feral ghouls. Whenever humans are in need, Geralt will be there. And this soldier was so gracious enough to give us a little bit of money for our troubles. On the way to Diamond City, we also run into another group of humans being attacked by super mutants. And compared to some of the monsters you face in the Witcher games, super mutants turned out to not be that difficult. And something weird must have happened when we teleported to Boston because all his abilities are scattered around the map. So we head over to Fen Street Sewers to pick up one of our other Witcher signs. Geralt unfortunately ran into some pretty powerful monsters down here. Not the first time Geralt's been in a sewer and having to fight beasts. Taking out this glowing one did take a couple of different tries, but once they were taken out, Geralt was able to find the Flamer, which will be acting as part of our Igni sign, which is pretty much just the ability to cast fire at your enemies. With our second sign achieved, we can head over to Diamond City and unfortunately run into Piper. We say whatever we need to say to get into Diamond City and head straight over to the doctor as we are suffering from pretty bad radiation. Now Geralt's body is normally completely immune to all diseases, but for some reason while he's in Boston that's not working so well. Luckily for us, there's a few perks that we can pick up throughout the game to help us with that, but we'll still have to run over to different doctors from time to time. A human settler tells us that she needs some help inside Hardware Town, and unfortunately Geralt has felt for one of the oldest tricks in the book. However, these bandits may have bitten off a little bit more than they can chew, as they did not hear Geralt stealth his way behind them. Now Witchers don't normally take contracts or hunt down humans, but humans who are trying to take out other humans like this settler was here, well, they're pretty much just fair game for him. And Demo is, well, he's demoed, dead. Let me just mix some paint and peace. After that, we head straight over to the Great Mass Blood Clinic, as we're going to be picking up another part of another Witcher sign. Now when it comes to the Axis sign, influencing and charming enemies in these games, there's not really that much to use. In the Fallout New Vegas run, I think the only thing I got was flashbangs and speech checks. Luckily in this game, well, we still have speech checks, but they're charisma checks. So I'll have to make sure I get as much into charisma as possible by the end of the game. But we also get access to a couple of different weapons that could help us charm and influence our enemies. The weapon that I'm obviously talking about in the Blood Clinic is the Syringer. It's not necessarily the weapon we need, but the syringes that it can fire. We head back to Diamond City. We learn more about this institute that seems to be really harassing and haunting all the different humans in this city, and we help Abbott paint the wall. The syringes that help with the axe ability the most will be the Berserk syringe, the Endan General syringe, and the Yellow Belly syringe. Our next location is Jamaica Plain to pick up something that will help with the Ard sign. It's also here that I start finding other things to help with the Erden sign. Just fragment mines, stuff like that, nothing too special, but helpful nonetheless. The main thing we're looking for though is in the Jamaica Plain Treasury. I'm sure most of you have guessed it by now, but we're looking for the 2076 World Series baseball bat. The main reason that it has a small chance to send the target flying, similar to the Ard sign where we push our enemies back. And to be honest, every time I tried to use it, it didn't seem to work. But no time to talk about things that didn't work, as we're going to go find something that worked really well, and something I had no idea even existed in this game. If you head over to Hallucinogen, you'll encounter all the gunners who are fighting each other due to the hallucinogen gas. Now when doing research for this video, I came across something very interesting. You can actually take the gas in this building and use it on your enemies outside of it. And for most people, they probably have no idea it even exists. because the ability to make the weapon doesn't even pop up in your chemistry station unless you're holding a certain item. That item being found in this room with the gunner commander. Now this is actually a pretty difficult battle because they keep using stealth boys, and I'm pretty sure they have multiple stim packs to heal as well. But the main thing we're here for is the hallucinogen gas canister. Now you can only get 8 in the entire game, and once you've got them, you can pop into the chemistry station and you can build the hallucinogen gas grenade. Now despite it saying 1 damage, its main purpose is when it is breathed in by an enemy, they will turn on their teammates. The unfortunate part though is that you are limited to 8 for the entire game, so we must use them wisely. This will go into combination with our syringer and our charisma check for our axis sign. You know, the ability of charming people. The hallucinogen grenade seems pretty close to that. But with all my rambling, we're continuing on with the main story. And we were given a contract by Ellie Perkins to come and save Nick from a bunch of bandits. Cutting our way through the triggermen is not too much of a problem as they're all just wearing cheap suits. I am also constantly using VATs, which I'm not a huge fan of using all the time in normal playthroughs, but with a sword and using the blitz ability, I started to feel like an absolute melee weapon demon. To get blitz, you need to have 9 in agility, which for these challenge runs I never usually play them long enough to get it. However, if you've watched my Fallout New Vegas playthrough, you'll know that we're in this playthrough for the long haul. And it's probably why the runtime is so long as well. We arrive and eventually save Nick, and I also briefly wanted to go over the perks that we're picking. Like I said, Blitz. I've also taken things like Action Boy and Aqua Boy, and put some extra ones into Charisma. We're able to use our Axis sign on Darla and convince her to leave Skinny Malone. In a really weird turn of events, getting Skinny Malone broken up with, he decides to also let us go. And if you know Geralt, he's got no time for pretending and fighting people that he doesn't need to fight. So Geralt takes the path of least resistance and heads out of the vault and meets Nick topside. We head back to Ellie Perkins, mainly to get our reward for saving Nick. And Nick brings up this interesting story about a baby. Now, I only have one daughter. Her name is Siri. So this boy named Sean, well, you know, I'll help out finding him, but I don't know why people keep saying he's my son. I ain't got no son, I ain't got no kids. Get a paternity test on him, because it ain't mine. After robbing the key from Mayor McDonough, I also picked up this tape from Ellie Perkins about another contract. We'll make sure to spin back round to that after we go into Kellogg's house. Now, it's like my mama told me, if you ever find a secret button to a secret compartment, don't trust them. We steal some of his cigars and talk to a dog. Roach Dog gets his scent for Kellogg, but before we do that, we're going to spin back around and learn more about this gilded grasshopper. Not too much of a problem for Geralt, as this place is swarmed with super mutants and clearing up monster nests is part of the job criteria. Once we've cleared them out, we can head to the roof and see that Marty Bullfinch didn't survive too long. But we do find his gilded grasshopper. With this, it leads us to a grave of Shem Dawn's. Now, the main reason we're doing this contract, well, on top of getting paid, is that Shen Dawn was buried with something. He was buried with a sword. And everyone who knows The Witcher knows that Geralt has 2 swords. The Shem-drawn sword gives radiation damage on top of physical damage. So with my arsenal more or less fully complete, we are now able to start tracking down Kellogg. Now, for one of the very few times in one of these challenge runs, I'm going to do this quest fully. As Geralt is somewhat of a detective, it wouldn't feel right getting Roach Dog to sniff the cigar and then just running straight to Fort Hagen anyway. And I just want to remind you guys, I've already been to the blood clinic, so I could have just fast travelled straight to Fort Hagen. But for this challenge, I decided to do it the long way. On the way I run into a bear, and I decided to test the flamer on him. The Igni sign is very powerful, so much so that I'm able to use a little bit of Ard on the Vialguai as well. I don't know how, but I'm able to launch the bear into the sky. We'll just sum that one up to magic. I do eventually arrive at Fort Hagen and start stuffing my way through all the synths. Now this is Geralt's first encounter with the Sims, and I do believe that Geralt would view these as abominations. He wouldn't consider them human, he wouldn't consider them worth protecting. And everything he's heard so far about the Institute and these Sims is not good. They kidnap humans, they kill humans, these are things that we need to protect humans for. So he has no shame and no problem slicing and dicing his way through the entirety of the Fort Hagen lower levels. I try and put a little bit of variety into my gameplay and start throwing some grenades as well. I will be honest now, the more I played this, the less I started using certain things. But right now, I'm still young and in love. So I decided to set up some bear traps for Kellogg. Did you know you could set up bear traps in Fallout 4? I didn't. Like, I really mean it, I had no idea. I decided to throw down some cow traps as well, because there's nothing better than wasting my own time. Now, the Brickmaker is fully aware that you can't talk Kellogg out of this fight. However, I do believe Geralt of Rivia would take some time to speak to him. However, it ends the same way as it always does, and Kellogg gets ready for a fight. This guy kidnaps children, so Geralt's got no shame taking him out. And I decided to use my syringer as well, and set him off into a frenzy. I retreat back to see if the traps do anything. They don't. And I tried really hard to get one of those home run hits with the baseball bat. It didn't pop off, and poor Kellogg ended up just bleeding out. I access his computer and search his internet history, and I am not impressed. And we get a nice big surprise from some flying magic machine. Geralt was looking at that and thinking absolutely no chance we're going near any of it. So instead we head back to Nick and let him know that we've been able to figure out what happened to the kid. We also let him know that we had to take out Kellogg. He attacked me, it was self-defense. As we're back at the agency though, Ailey Perkins has another quest for us. We've hit a certain level, and what that means is she'll let us know that there's a family called the Nakamos who have a missing persons. And that is a contract that is straight up Geralt's alley. And on the way, he runs into Skinny Malone again. I honestly think this is only like the second time I've ever run into Skinny outside of the vault. He usually doesn't survive this long, but Geralt is a gentle soul. We arrive at the Nakano residence, and they let us know that they have a person missing. It's their daughter, and if there's one thing that Geralt can relate to, it's someone losing their daughter. We do a little bit of investigation and find this key hidden in the picture frame. After we unlock the safe, we're able to listen to a holotape that lets us know what Kasumi's up to. She's having a little bit of an identity crisis, and she's ran off to Far Harbor, an island filled with monsters, cults and murderers. So Geralt puts on his little captain's hat and gets ready to set off and sail. We arrive at Far Harbor and we learn that the human settlement is already under attack from monsters. So it's good to know that if Geralt even tries to leave the island, he's always going to find work. Almost a comforting thing. A bunch of harbormen get trapped outside of the wall, so Geralt jumps down to protect them from all the gulpers. The sword was not going to be enough for this one, so we use the tactic of hiding behind this wooden wall and jumping out with our flamer every now and then. I did get a little bit of a scare though, as this young gulper was able to get behind and attack me here, which is usually a safe spot. Also a nice little trick for any of you guys still playing through Far Harbor and find this battle a bit hard. Even though you can just hide up on the wall and wait, that's not what Geralt would do. So if you ever decide to jump down, yeah, if you run behind the wooden wall, they can't get you there. Except this time. This time one of them got me there. We head over and speak to Avery, and well, they let us know about all the nonsense happening on this island. We also meet up with Teddy, who has this poor patient who's, well, not going to make it. And just like in The Witcher 3, it's probably better if we just leave him alone. We also run into old Cassie Dalton, who's got plenty of contracts for us to complete. And it makes the most sense, the people of Far Harbor are all humans, they just want to have a safe life. So it would make a lot of sense to do all the contracts for the people of Far Harbor. We're also introduced to this old man's Longfellow, and unfortunately this time my axie wasn't enough. And Longfellow's going to accompany us through the fog. To be honest, it's never bad to have a little bit of company every now and then. And since we learned that Kasumi is probably at Arcadia, it wouldn't help having a guide through this strange fog. Again, there's no way to turn off radiation damage. Despite Geralt's body being completely immune, there is no perk that gets rid of radiation totally. Only perks that can offset it slightly. So we head off and run into some bandits. We also run into some wolves. Now Geralt being from the school of the wolf, it pains him a little bit to take them out. But they do attack us first. And the goal of a Witcher is always to protect the humans from the monsters. So with the wolves taken out, we also run into a Child of Atom. And we immediately get booky vibes. I'd say from our point of view they are very reminiscent of the Children of the Eternal Fire. So we're going to try and stay clear of them as much as possible. We arrive at Arcadia, thank Longfellow for all the stuff he's helped us with. And we can go speak to Dima. And I'm not too smart, but I'm pretty sure that this guy ain't human. There is something about him. I think it's the haircut. He needs to grow out a beard just like mine. I'll tell him that. I'm sure he'll be able to do it. Dima lets us know that Kasumi is here. But on the way there we do run into this guy called Dejin, who is selling a flamer called Sergeant Ash. With more or less the best weapon in the game acquired, I get the drop on Kasumi, and we get talking about what's happening to her. We use a little bit of our old Axie power, and we're able to, well, get her a little bit more on our side. But we have found a contract within a contract. She wants us to learn if there's any funny business going on with Dima. And well, I mean, look at him. I mean, of course there's funny business. And we're able to use our Axie again and learn that he's got some few secrets hidden away. Like literally hidden away. He has hidden those secrets where he cannot find them. We tell Kasumi and she lets us know that she is not returning home until we figure this all out. So I guess we're going to be on this island for a little bit longer. While we're here we pick up a few more contracts from the people of Arcadia and head back to see if the people of Far Harbor need any help as well. At this point of the main story we have to head over to the Children of Atom and access Dima's memories. And if anyone who's played this knows, I don't want to do that straight away. So I more or less decided to do all the quests for Far Harbor. The town, not the DLC. And the first thing is fixing the water purifier and all the different turbines as well. With all the Mirelurks taken out, we fix all the different things, but we also run into a blood trail. Now someone mentioned that someone went missing on their way to Arcadia, so once we examined this, we knew that it was probably the person we were looking for. It led us to this house full of trappers. And well, we're not judgmental people. We're not here to put these guys down for the way that they live. But I don't want no trouble. And this this guy says he's gonna eat me. So unfortunately the cannibals are gonna have to go. I swear all Geralt wants to do is just live his life peacefully. But trouble has a way of finding him. So after all that, we're able to turn in our couple of quests to Far Harbor and start the main quest for Cassie Dalton, who honestly in this entire game has the most witchery contract missions ever. Clear out monsters, get revenge, find people, take them out. I also run into Erickson, who is a super mutant. However, Geralt does not take out sentient beings that show no threats. So although Erickson is safe, this fog crawler is not. And it's here that I'm able to show off the real power of Sergeant Ash. For anyone who isn't aware, Sergeant Ash is a flamethrower that has a 20% chance of crippling your legs on every hit. A flamer has a constant streams of attack. So if you're able to get off 10 flamer shots, you are pretty much guaranteed to cripple the enemy's legs. And when it comes to big monsters like frog crawlers, once they're crippled, they're not moving. Which means claiming this trophy was pretty damn easy, and honestly, all big monsters from now on will be. We also arrive at the tannery, where we're here to pick up some tools for the Mariner, as she wants to build up the walls to protect the humans more. We wipe out all the ghouls inside the tannery, and once we've gotten the tools, we run into Machete Mike. Now he offers a lot of gold for these tools, but Anyone who knows Geralt knows that caps and stuff like that aren't everything. So we reject the offer and head back to Far Harbour to help them. We also stumble across all these feral ghosts just trying to have a nice movie night and introduce our hot topics to it. We also stumble across the nucleus and well, if we didn't like them before, well, we're not going to like them now. I mean, this is the definition of a bad first impression, and Geralt says that he's got no interest. We also stumble across a fog crawler and an angler having a huge battle, which I think is always interesting, just randomly finding out in the world. And well, the fog crawler obviously won, and well, he decided to attack us as well, and God, it almost feels cruel at this point. I mean, once you've crippled them, you can just stand back and wait. One last swing and I tried to get the baseball bat clack as well. But despite not sending the fog crawler half away across the world, we're still able to claim another trophy. We're also able to pick up some of the different drives for Faraday. Honestly, watching this back now and doing the audio, I'm not even sure if I turned that quest in. But when we head back to Far Harbour, we're pretty much able to hand in about 5 different quests. It's here where Teddy comes up and gives us a nice little talking to and lets us know that we can get a fancy hat if we throw our meat in the water. So we decide to set off and do just that, and a few other quests along the way. We get taken out by a gulper and run into the fog crawler that attacked the Dalton farm. Again, there's not much else to say here. The only time I really got hurt was when I got too close to its face, and once I slam it into the ground, I'm able to claim another trophy. I mean, at this point it's mostly just fog crawler trophies, but you know, a trophy's a trophy. It'll look nice on my horse. We head back and let Cassie know, and she sets us off on even more revenge. On our way to get that revenge though, we do pass back the MS Azalea, which is filled with more bandits to clear out, and we need the hull to protect our walls as well. So Bilge is, well, Bilge gets to feel my bulge. After wiping them all out, I decide to go for a swim and pass by the Vimpot factory because this will be important later. There's a big old trophy in there that we want to claim. We take out the first couple of super mutants on the outside. They're definitely not as nice as Ericsson was. We also pass by the Northwood Quarry. The only reason this is important is because we're attacked by a Mirelurk Queen. And just watch. Look at that. Anyone who tells you that Sergeant Ash is not the best weapon in this game has not used it well enough. Mirelurk Queens, Behemoths, Deathclaws, Fog Crawlers, all of them are no longer a problem. And we're able to claim our first Mirelurk Queen trophy. We eventually arrive at the lighthouse to get revenge for old Cassie Dalton. At this point I don't even remember if we're being paid for this. And I decide to use one of my yellow belly syringes on Douglas. The yellow belly syringe makes him go into a frenzy and run away and hide. And honestly, it worked out really well. If it wasn't so hard to get all the different materials to make these syringes, I probably would have tried to have used them more. But with that, we head back to Far Harbour, let the mariner know she can go claim her ship, and let Cassie know that her family has been fully avenged. Nothing left to do now but to drop my wheat in some cold water. Almost seems weird dropping Mirelurk meat into the water with all the Mirelurks and they all come up. I get this Mirelurk King to start doing a Michael Jackson impression. I think it's the frozen armor I've got. I think it glitches some of the enemies out sometimes, but look at that. I'm telling you, a combination of random legendary armors and playing in constant third person glitched this game to no end. If there's one recommendation I've had from this challenge run, don't play this game in third person. It's not fun. It's better doing it in first. Just play it in first person. I don't think I ever found one advantage to third person. Truly, none. And even though I find a pretty sweet weapon, I claim my second Mirelurk Queen trophy of this game. I have no idea how I'm going to carry all these Mirelurk Queen heads home, but I'll find a way. With that, I get given a fancy hat, because I'm so good at killing things. Also, a lot of the people who weren't too sure about me are much more welcome to speaking to me, like this small child. I'm also able to speak to Mitch, the bartender, and he wants me to go save his uncle, Uncle Ken. Uncle Ken is a dick, but he needs some saving, so we help him against all the different trapper bandits. I'm also able to use my nice little bit of charisma and axie on him and get him to head back to Far Harbor, saving his life. I'm sure he'll be very grateful. I also thought I'd take this moment and show you guys me taking out another frog crawler. At this point, I really don't believe it's really impressive, but it's another trophy. I'll be honest, when it comes to special enemies and monsters in Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas does it better. Like, it felt more streamlined in New Vegas. I had a list of targets, and this one it's just random legendary enemies. There's a few named ones, but mostly it's just you run into them randomly. It's not like they've got a special home. One guy who is a monster, even though he's human, is this Malcolm guy. Now that small child from earlier wanted me to clear this place out so they could have a happy life. Malcolm loves that idea. He loves it so much that he wants me to send the people here so he can cut the meat. We tell him, no, we're not going to let him cut his meat. And instead, I cut his meat. And I let him hold my meat as well. Frustrated and overwhelmed by all the meat touching, I'm also overwhelmed by a scary crab in a car. This one was a bit more difficult. I found it quite hard to cripple his legs. I couldn't make him stop fully. But I did slow him down, and I was able to claim my first giant hermit crab trophy of this playthrough. And I think my only one, because I don't think I ever ran into another one. They are actually quite rare compared to fog crawlers. With that, this small child was able to convince these adults to start sending, well, just people into the fog, and hopefully they'll reach that lumber mill. And with that quest done, I am fully accepted by this human settlement, which is probably the most non-Witcher thing in this playthrough. We now unlock another contract to battle another monster, the Red Death, which will probably be our toughest opponent yet. Now everyone who's played Far Harbor knows that the Red Death is a very anticlimactic quest, and I genuinely wished it was something really special. I thought that would have been very cool. It unfortunately is trapping ships and sinking them, so we do get to claim another trophy. A pretty small one, at least I can keep this one in my pocket. We decide to save the mariner's face and create a legend about it, and at this point there's nothing left for us to do but to speak to the Children of Atom. Now if you guys saw the introduction to this video, you'll know that Geralt is not against drinking random potions and hallucinating. And our hallucinations lead us to this random house with a bunch of feral ghouls, which, hey, while I'm here, might as well clear out another monster's nest. With them all taken out, we're able to crack this unbelievable enigma code here. And with our magic computer used, we're able to claim the mother icon. Now I really don't think Geralt would entertain the Children of Atom, but I also don't think he would just start slicing them down. So I decide to head in there and, well, just immediately head to the Nucleus Command Center. We run into our first couple of Assaultrons, which, god, look at that 10% freezing chance, isn't that just sweet? And we also face our first legendary Assaultron. And I always thought the build up to get to this room, the battles that we have to do, is, oh god, it is coming, isn't it? Right, let's have as much fun as we can in the meantime. Let's play Ring Around the Rosie with this Assaultron, eh? Let's make him crawl, because god, we're gonna have to crawl now, as I have to complete this goddamn quest. Don't worry, I will not make you guys watch it, and I get all the different codes and head over back to Grand Zealot Richter. His quest involves us hunting down a human who left the cult. Absolutely not. This is where Geralt stops. He is no way helping this man do this. However, this man wants us to help his friend, well, not perish the radiation, which I do believe is something Geralt would help with. With an Axie sign hit, we're able to convince Devon that I am the Messiah. We also go speak to the High Confessor to figure out what he's all about, and we immediately do not like his vibe. So we leave and we run into Shipbreaker, which is one of the very few named enemies in this game which isn't a human enemy. I decided to see if the yellow berry syringe will work on a monster. I'll tell you right now for free, it doesn't. It didn't do anything, he kept attacking. There was no way Shipbreaker was going to run off and hide. He however probably wishes he did, as I bring out Sergeant Ash. Now, something I didn't know is that if an enemy is left long enough, they can actually heal their crippled limbs. And the problem with Shipbreaker is that he has a massive health pool. So this isn't a case of will I win this fight, I'm pretty sure I can. It's just a case of how long is it going to take and how much flamer fuel do I have. As if I run out of flamer fuel and Shipbreaker heals his legs, well, I actually do not feel confident at all in the battle. So with 28 flamer fuel left, we have to be very conservative with our ammunition. And we got to chopping as quick as we could. Luckily for us, General Child's Revenge has serrated blades, so we're able to get as much bleed damage as possible. And after probably a genuine 20 minutes, we're able to take out Shipbreaker, claiming probably one of the biggest trophies that Geralt's going to get in this game. This one feels better than those random frog crawlers that I ran into. This one feels genuine. Speaking of genuine people, we find the wind turbine key, and we're able to start fully understanding what Dima's plans were. Dima had a bunch of contingency plans to take out anyone on the island. And by take out people on island, it means he's already started doing it, as we're able to find the location of Captain Avery, the leader of Far Harbor. And unfortunately at this point, Dima's fate is sealed. We let Kasumi know, and after a long conversation we both agree that Arcadia itself is worth protecting. However, Dima himself has already done too much damage. Geralt in no way would ever allow Arcadia to be attacked by Far Harbor, and in no way would he ever attack people in Arcadia. None of them have done anything wrong. However, Dima does have crimes to answer for. And the only way we can do it is by letting him go to Far Harbor and confess what he's done. At that point, the people of Far Harbor start calling for blood. Avery versus Alan. And unfortunately this time, we were unable to convince Alan to stand down. Alan wants to attack the Children of Atom and Arcadia, as he does not trust anyone who is not from Far Harbor. Even our Axis sign and charisma check was not able to stop him here. But luckily for us, we've been doing all the different contracts for all the people of Far Harbor. The Mariner loves us, we helped her fix the hull. Teddy saw us do a dance. We avenged Cassie's family. We brought back the lumber mill. We saved Uncle Ken. Uncle Ken still hates us though. But that's enough people taking our side for Alan to back down. Which means although Dima doesn't survive, the people of Arcadia do. We're able to head back and speak to Kasumi, who's finally ready to head back and speak to her parents. Which means, honestly, at this point, Far Harbor is finished. Except for another named enemy. Goran the Superhuman Behemoth. Now this was a long and difficult battle, full of strange tactics, and black no, he's already down. He's already down. He's already done. Grun, I believe, gets the worst death possible, as this is the meaning of death by 1,000 cuts. And with Grun taken out, we're able to claim our first Super Mutant Behemoth trophy. And while I'm taking this trophy, I think now is a good time to explain why I am ending Far Harbor here. Our contract to find Kasumi is done. We did everything possible in Far Harbor to get Kasumi back. And with that, the fate of the island is up to the people. Geralt tries to remove himself from politics as much as possible. So the only thing we've got left to do is claim our reward. And I won't lie, I reloaded a few times and I was able to pick up a wounding flamer, which I was unbelievably excited for. So excited, I went to go tell my best friend, Ellie Perkins, who keeps giving me jobs. The first thing I thought I would do was test it out on Swan. As most people know, the wounding effect is the strongest ability in Fallout 4 as it stacks. And similar to the crippling effect for Sergeant Ash, the flamer is constantly firing, meaning the bleed damage is constantly stacking. And to be honest, at this point it feels like I'm more of a fire mage, because my Igni sign at this current moment is stronger than any Geralt version in any book or game. I mean, no one stands up to me. I'm either going to bleed you or I'm going to cripple you. I honestly feel bad for anyone who has to step in my way. We quickly run through the memory den, speak to Nick, who's assigned to practice his impressions at the moment, and I may have got a little bit confident with my new toy, and well, Flamer doesn't beat Nuke, to be honest, and I learned that the hard way. We do make our way to the glowing sea, however, as we've got to go find Virgil. And you'd probably think, yeah, the glowing sea, that's perfect for Geralt. Geralt's no fool. He's not going to go into a place teeming with monsters and try and take them all out, unless he's being paid. However, on his travels, if he does get to pop into a few monsters along the way, well, he's got no shame taking them out. And my god, that Death Claw. Crippled, woman, the Wounding Flamer. God. We arrive at the crater of Atom, and luckily these cultists aren't as crazy as the other ones in Far Harbor, and we arrive at the rocky cave. Now Virgil again is a super mutant, but he is sentient and not violent, and he helps us out, so we don't attack him. He points us in the direction of a Courser, which is an evil robot that hunts down other humans, and we need something in its brain so we can start using teleport. Now again, this is a mandatory thing for the main quest, as Geralt hates teleporting, so actively going out of his way to try and fix his own teleportation is not like him. But again, we are limited by the quest, so we must complete it. He'll take his anger out on these poor gunners. We meet up with the Courser, and yeah, we'll decide to talk to him first, see if he'll give his brain over willingly. And we just ask a simple question about the girl he's hunting, and he immediately becomes hostile, so, well, he's more or less sealed his own fate. I try using my other sword that I did for the Gilded Grasshopper quest, and to be honest, it might have been the first time I remembered to use it up until this point. The Courser is not a difficult fight, but I do feel like I'm relying a bit too much on my flamers. I get my Courser chip, head back over to Dr. Amara, and she points me in the direction of the railroad. We use our tracking skills, fight our way into the Old North Church, and clear it of all monsters. We're able to crack the code, and we're able to be introduced to the railroad. And luckily for us, because we have a Courser chip, we don't have to do any of the nonsense for them. We can watch old Tinker Tom crack it on his computer, and head back to Virgil, who will give us some special plans. And on our way out of his cave, we receive another signal. This time a caravan is being attacked by crazy robots, so Geralt immediately heads over to try and help them. Unfortunately, by the time that Geralt arrives, there's no more humans left to help, but there is this sentient robot, who does appear to be very friendly, so Geralt agrees to help them out. The first place we're sent is to pick up another radar beacon. This is from a group of crazed robots who are attacking random human settlements, so it's Geralt's job to wipe them out. And if we're able to pick up a radar beacon along the way, well, that's just gravy. With the Robo Brain taken out, we're able to head back to Ada and attach a radar beacon to her. And unfortunately for us, the next group of robots are at the furthest away point in the map, meaning we had to run all the way over here just to attack another Robo Brain, who is shooting spectral brainwaves at us, which we do not appreciate. Our Flamer is becoming a complete crutch at this point. I mean, it's not even for difficult fights at this more, it's just to make them go quicker. And we get sent in the direction of their stronghold. Not necessarily where all the robots are coming from, but a different settlement where there's a bunch of raiders and bandits who are setting up robots to attack other human settlements. So we head down. To be honest, at the current level that I'm at, this is not too much of a problem for old Geralt of Rivia. And it feels nice getting General Charles' Revenge really using its full legendary effect. We speak to Jezebel and use our Axis sign to get a few of our lies out of the way. Through our Axis sign, we're able to tell that Jezebel is not lying to us, and actually in fact cannot lie to us, so we can trust her for now. However, pulling her head out is activated Ahab, another one of those named enemies. Luckily for us, the wounding flamer is just melting any sort of enemy, and for one of the first times we're able to claim our first robot trophy. Funnily enough, because Ahab is one of the only monsters in this game that drops its head, so it wouldn't feel right not taking it. With Jezebel securely put in our, I'm actually not really sure where we're keeping her, but it's somewhere on our person, we can start making our way through the back door and face another named Assaultron. You know its name because it's the only one in the game called a demon, meaning that we've got our second robot head. Quick succession here for us, but we'll never stop an opportunity to take another trophy for ourselves. We also decided to pull out the syringer as, to be honest, as I'm playing this, every now and then I just remember I have a certain weapon, so I'm like, right, let me take this opportunity to use it. And yeah, I'm actually starting to really enjoy the yellow belly syringe. The fact they can make huge enemies run away in terror is quite handy, especially if you've got a powerful weapon to get the drop on them. One of the rare opportunities, we fail one of our charisma checks, and we build Jezebel a body like we promised. With all this done, we can finally head over to, well, the robot's nest. And with Ada by our side, as you must take a robot companion with you, we can take on the Mechanist. I won't waste too much of your guys' time getting through this lair, it's simply just walk through, fight robot, fight another robot, keep walking. We do eventually meet with the Mechanist, and Geralt is immediately able to tell throughout this conversation that this all isn't what it seems to be. The Mechanist isn't necessarily an evil person. In fact, they believe that we are the evil person. Now that's quite common amongst bad guys, they usually do think they're in the right and we're in the wrong. But through the conversation you are able to see that the Mechanist generally believes that they are helping people and we're the ones stopping that. So for now, Geralt's going to have to put himself through these robot trials to see if he can get more information out of the Mechanist. And I actually had forgotten how difficult this battle can actually become, especially when you're trying to get up close and personal with melee weapons, as a lot of these robots have extremely powerful melee attacks, to the point where I actually got, well, probably one of my first deaths in a long time. So tough in fact, I even got a second one. I'm not sure what was hitting me, but I just kept getting staggered, and I tried the same trick of hitting that refreshing beverage, but it was not enough to survive. This is again another problem with the third person. When you get stun locked or you get a little bit of a beatdown, your character can get locked in place and you're unable to move for quite a while. With all the robots defeated though, I can finally come, well, kind of face to face with the Mechanist. Ada's trying her best to interrupt. The longer the conversation goes, the longer that Geralt does figure out that the Mechanist is someone who created these robots to try and protect human settlements. And with some different charisma checks and action signs, we're able to even meet her face to face. And the reveal is, well, she's just another human. So what is Geralt to do? She's a human that shows genuine remorse and was unaware of what she was doing. So I believe the best outcome for Geralt is just to shut everything down, but allow her to survive. Getting revenge for Ada, and allowing Geralt to get back to helping other settlements. As repairing this sword and getting all this armor ain't going to pay for itself, so it's time to get back to the old grindstone and hit up some more Witcher contracts. We get to hear more about Preston's story, and we get to start liking this guy a lot more. Despite you being either robot, human or ghoul, if you're sentient and friendly, Preston wants you to help them. So that's exactly what Geralt starts doing. And I believe that out of all the factions in this game so far, I do think Geralt would spend a lot of time with the Minutemen to help them out. As it's kind of like travelling as a Witcher, helping out human settlements, but you've kind of got a manager. You've got a guy who does the administration for you. Preston, he goes out and finds you the contracts and you just got to collect the coins. Honestly, I think it's the perfect partnership. And the next thing he wants us to do is to help reclaim a location that's been overturned by monsters. Taking independence, or as most people know it as reclaiming the castle, is something within the Witcher 3 games that Geralt's quite used to. Especially in the Blood and Wine DLC, he'll stumble across a small settlement, clear it out and humans will return. So Geralt immediately gets to work wiping out all the Mirelurks with the help of the Minutemen. With the Mirelurks taken out, the Mirelurk Queen approaches. And, well, you guys have seen this. How many times now? You know what happened. I'm going to cripple her legs. I'm going to pull up my sword. And I'm going to take her head. Do you like that silver? Even Preston uses a little bit of the Igni sign. And despite being properly cooked, I'm still able to claim my trophy for this Mirelurk Queen. And in the Fallout New Vegas video I kept count, but even now I have completely lost it. With the castle fully reclaimed, we can head back and speak to Sturgis about teleportation. If there's one thing Geralt hates, it's teleporting. So what we're going to do in the meantime is go and help some more random settlements. And while doing that, we get a call from the Nuka-Cola family radio. So Geralt decides to investigate. Geralt doesn't try and get himself involved with the politics of the nuclear wasteland, but gunners for some reason always bring the fight to him, so he's got no problem wiping out Commander Kaler. We head down and find this poor injured man called Harvey. Now immediately we're trying to give Harvey some help. Offer him a stim pack, ask him what's really going on, but luckily our Axis sign activates and Harvey lets us know about all the troubles going on at Nuka-World. Despite being fully aware what's going on, Geralt is still going to investigate, as it sounds that there's a bunch of bandits torturing and trapping a bunch of random people. So we begin the quest, taken for a ride, and make our way through the Nuka-World gauntlet. Now, Geralt has no idea what he's supposed to be doing right now. But my god, he does seem to get lucky with picking the doors and finding the keys. I don't know how he knows all this stuff, my god, it must be those investigation skills. He gets attacked by a brand new enemy, a swarm of bugs. We are now introduced to the head of this operation, Overboss Coulter. Unfortunately for him, he does not know that he has been betrayed and someone has given me a water pistol. Now everyone, let's count this together. How long does it take to take out Coulter? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 seconds. We'll call it 8 since I started late. And with my 8-second battle done, I get to speak to Porter Gage. Now Porter Gage explains to us that because we wiped out Coulter, we are now in charge of a bandit gang. And I don't need to tell any of you guys, but there is in no way, shape or form that Geralt of Rivia is going to take on the role of bandit leader. However, Gage does not take no for an answer. And after checking out the market and seeing all the different slaves that have been taken in, well, there's only one poor outcome for Porter Gage. He's going to get wiped out by Geralt of Rivia. With this porterhouse cooked to medium rare, we make our way through all the different gangs and start taking them out one by one. This also felt like a good time to start using my hallucinogen grenades. Due to anyone breathing in the gas attacking their own people, the leaders of these gangs are extremely powerful people. And since we're starting with the operators, we've got 3 to take out. So it's probably one of the hardest ones. With William Black and Mag Black on our side, we're actually able to see that even if they're taken out by their own people, they actually can't get wiped out. They have to be taken out by us. So once they've both taken out the majority of the operators, I'm able to pull out the flamer and start getting to work. As with the winding flamer, you guys have seen it, you guys know, there's no one who can really survive it. So with Mag Black and William Black taken out, that's the operators, well, out of operation. And Geralt's so excited, he decides to start using his own teleportation tricks. I'm now somehow next to Magic Kingdom. I don't know how, but I fast travel right back to the amphitheater and I start taking on the pack. The first thing I'm going to do is find Mason, as why waste my blade? With Mason now on my side, he's actually able to wipe out all of the raiders without me even needing to help. And it's here that I realise that once he's taking everyone out, he will actually turn right back on you. So now that it's a one-on-one fight, well, at least it's fair. I say it's fair, I started off with the sword and then realised, why waste my own time? Why not just pull the flamer back out? And with the wounding flamer in hand, well, that's Mason taken out, isn't it? And with the pack taken out with the operators, there's only one left, the disciples, in the Fizz Top Mountain. Again, I look for the leader, Nisha, and make sure I drop my hallucinogen grenade, and just watch as the carnage unfolds. Now's probably a good time to ask, What do you guys think of the Raiders of Nuka-World? Who's your favourite? I'll tell you right now that my favourite group is the Pack, and my least favourite is the Disciples, but I think that's a very common answer for the majority of people. You guys let me know in the comments down below who is your favourite. And while you do that, I've taken out Nisha. With all 3 gangs taken out and their leaders taken out with them, I head back to the market and speak to Mackenzie, as she is the one that gives you open season and also allows you to complete it. However, this isn't old Geralt and old Brickmaker just trying to get through Nuka-World quickly, as there's still a bunch of locations that are swarming with monsters. And with all those people back at the market probably wanting to expand, well, there's only one thing to do, and that's to start expanding out. I'm so cool that worms even freeze as I'm just standing still. I have to do a shootout with one-eyed Ike, and I didn't get the Axie check on him, so I decided just to wipe him out. I do get a little bit luckier when speaking to the bartender, as he just gives me the safe combination without too much of hassle. And I get the same luck again when speaking to the horse wrangler. To be honest, most of this is just in the efforts of saving some time and giving me quicker access to battle with the Bloodworm Queen. I'm pretty sure there is only one Bloodworm Queen in the game, and to be honest, she's quite disappointing. She doesn't really have anything different to the other Bloodworms in the game, so you can't even really tell it's her. However, it's still a trophy. And with the Bloodworm Queen taken out, well, that's pretty much the Bloodworms finished for this game. I let the sheriff know that the Bloodworms shouldn't be a problem anymore, and make my way over to the safari. I will let you in a little secret here, a lot of the footage for this scene, well, it kind of corrupted, so I had to go back and re-record some of it. I will also make the point now that I won't do a trophies cutscene for every Gator Claw, as it might take up the majority of the playthrough at this point. I meet with Cito, and Cito, despite being a bit of a devolved human, is a very kind man, and so are his gorilla family. And all they want is to stop the massive Gator Claws from hurting the people that they love. So I head in, speak to Cito, get a little bit of his backstory, get even more reason to like him, and decide to help him out with stopping all the Gator Claws. As even if Cito wasn't here, well, I'd probably do it anyway, as well the Gator Claws, if they can get out into the rest of Nuka-World, they'd probably be able to take over the market just by themselves. So after cooking as many Gator Claws outside of the park as possible, we head into the underground basement to see just exactly what kind of nest we're dealing with. It turns out it wasn't a nest, it was a cloning facility, which we don't really understand, and we don't really need to understand. We encounter an albino Gator Claw, which despite being a different colour doesn't mean it has any more resistance to my flamer. And I will do a nice little trophy cut animation for him, as he's the only one in the game to fight. With that, we have our one and only Gator Claw trophy, and we head over to the replication machine to finally turn it off, stopping all the monsters and saving Cito and his family. On the way to Magic Kingdom, we stop by the World of Refreshment, as there's a new enemy, the Nuka-Lurks. And more importantly, the Nuka-Lurk Queen, as that's who we are after. With the Nuka-Lurks more or less running into their own doom, we claim our one and only Nuka-Lurk Queen trophy of this entire game. I'm pretty sure you cannot get another one. If you can, please correct me down in the comments, but we have our one and only one. We pass through Brad Burton on the way to the Magic Kingdom, as I know there's a Mirelurk Queen around here, and we just so happen to stop by and find this Rachel's holotape. We'll give it a listen since we're in the area, and we get to learn a little bit more about some guy called Oswald, and some cure they were looking for. Maybe that will come important again later, but for now we've got Mirelurk Queens to cripple. And with her out for the count, we're able to claim another Mirelurk Queen trophy. No idea where I'm keeping them all. I don't think I'll be able to stop off anywhere to let them go. They must just be all hanging off my back, or hanging off poor Roach. We enter the Magic Kingdom, and due to having the ghoulish part, we're pretty much invincible as we run around. The only thing we've got to worry about is having too much rads at once. Meeting a new enemy, the Painted Ghoul, which we know definitely gives them more power. We have been tasked with searching all the different areas to find some guy called Oswald, who we heard about in the tape earlier. I won't waste too much time in here, I'll just go over the important parts. I missed this jump. I started tripping in a tunnel. I spun around in a circle while swinging my sword. And went into the basement and found the guy teleporting. Always with the teleporting. I ran around the tracks and showed off my great skills. And took a moment of panic just to figure out what I'm going to do. Whoa, look at that! Look at that! Nimble! Like a cat! Or like a wolf. School the wolf, not school the cat. Let's school the cat to the bad ones. Anyway, we enter King Cola's castle. And we finally come face to face with Oswald. Now, Oswald's reasoning for sending all of his ghouls after us is due to the raiders messing with them. He also shows that he has genuine magic. Something we haven't seen since we've entered Boston. But something Geralt's not too estranged to, so it doesn't freak him out too much. However, the use of necromancy is extremely forbidden, and the use of teleportation is extremely annoying. So we're able to trap Oswald on the roof. It's here that we get to learn a lot more about Oswald. All these ghouls were his friends and his co-workers. And that woman Rachel went off to find a cure while Oswald protected them. We tried to explain to him, but it isn't until we give him Rachel's holotape that he realises that what he's been doing may not be worth it. It is such a shame, but Oswald does apologise and gives us a new weapon. Probably the best one that we've got now. Unless we're fighting robots, then it is General Charles Revenge, but the Sword of Wonders helps us out with energy resistances. With all that said and done, we did finish Nuka-World, so there's only one thing left to do. And just like Oswald the Outrageous, it's finally time to start using teleportation. We enter into the Institute, and Geralt keeps in mind everything he's heard. The Commonwealth Boogeyman. Kidnapping, murdering, replacing people with robots. And despite all these weird emotions that goes through him, it is simple to say that Geralt would just refuse to help. Not hate them, not attack them, just refuse to join. And with that, our father-son says that's, well, it's bad to hear, but Geralt leaves anyway, teleports straight back out in front of CIT. One thing that's important about Geralt is that he never wants to be involved in politics. He just wants to do his job. However, politics has a very strange way of finding him. But let's not worry about that now. Someone from the Minutemen wants us to help clear up more of the castle. So after speaking to Ronnie Shaw, we head down to the basement and fight Sarge for her. A somewhat difficult battle, but nothing we haven't handled before. And we uncover some old artillery designs. Something Geralt is actually kind of familiar with. It's starting to feel a little bit more like home, getting all this artillery built. With that, there's not much else left to do, to be perfectly honest. We let Preston know that we're not going to be helping the Institute, so we simply just start making our way and helping all the settlements. We start off at Abernathy Farm, and that leads us to a raider gang with a named enemy called Ak Ak. That then leads us to County Crossing, where this settler's had his friend kidnapped by more bandits. So we head over to River Beach Station and, well, we save this settler. We continue on, and with these settlers they want us to wipe out some more super mutants. And again, wiping out a monster's nest is no skin off Geralt's back. During all this, Preston moved over to the castle and we let him know about all the settlements we've helped. But something strange happens at this time. As we're on to help our next settlement, the castle becomes under attack by the Institute. We had no qualms with them. We decided to take the neutral stance on the politics. We just wanted to help all the different settlements, but the Institute decided to take the battle to us. And in a really strange way, this is a different way of playing this story. Usually you become enemies of the Institute due to your actions, but this time in this playthrough, no Geralt of Rivia character involved. We've took complete neutrality. All we wanted to do was to help settlements, help the Minutemen rebuild. And for our troubles, we got attacked. So, like I said earlier, politics finds its way to Geralt every time. And with that, there's only one thing left to do. And that's to make sure no more Minutemen and no more innocent civilians get attacked by robots. So we make our way back to CIT, and through the tunnels to make our way into the Institute itself. A somewhat difficult battle, but nothing we can't handle. Thank God we've got the Blitz attack, because these laser turrets were a serious pain. We are able to phase through a fence and down some stairs to take out these sims. And we arrive at the main teleportation station. That rhymed. Without hastening, we meet Preston. And without giving an inch, we fight the sims. I apologise, I'll stop now. In these weapon restricted runs, I always find the best legendary effects. Never ending Gauss rifle sounds amazing. But less with the what ifs, we finally meet up with Fowler's son and convince him with our axie to get all the sims to stand down, as there's been enough bloodshed. We also execute the evacuation protocol, as we are not here to take out anyone who doesn't want this fight. The only people we're willing to fight are the sims who challenge us and the people who challenge us. Everyone else is free to leave. We go Igni for Igni, but unfortunately his one doesn't have the wounding effect. And despite his legendary mutations, we're able to take out this one and take out the one up here with the rocket launcher. I also get this pretty sweet cinematic scene with our flamer. Again, this became a flamer only playthrough at one point. We plant the fusion pulse charge and begin our escape out of the Institute. We spawn back in, and I'm sure you're all wondering what I'm going to do with my son. And despite him not really being my son, Geralt doesn't have a son, he has a daughter. We're not going to allow this poor little grey haired guy to suffer, despite his old age at such a young age. And we let him leave with us. We speak to Sturgis and let him know that we're ready to leave. We click the detonator, and we do finally answer the question that yes, you can indeed beat Fallout 4 as Geralt of Rivia. Wow, this has been a very long video. If you guys have somehow got to this point, please leave a comment down below saying that you miss Alvin. If you guys also get that reference, you can say that Alvin did nothing wrong. This was a lot of fun for a lot of different reasons. Compared to a lot of character challenges or playthroughs as soldiers, this one allowed me to use a lot of different weapons I've never used in Fallout 4 before. Now granted, a lot of them didn't get used much. Stuff like the bear trap and the caltrops, those sucked. But getting to use the hallucinogen grenades, stuff like that, that was interesting. Those were just things I never knew even existed in the game. So getting the chance to use them in one of these playthroughs was, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Now I'm sure you guys know I do love The Witcher. And The Witcher 3 is one of my most favourite games, so I'm glad I could bring you something like this. A much longer video than usual, I will say. If you guys liked the video, please remember to leave a like, leave a comment, and leave any suggestions for other runs down below. I do add them to a list, and I will get through them all eventually. But other than that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.